Today, we're comparing another SUV to another minivan. Today, we're comparing the GMC Yukon AT4 to the Chrysler Pacifica Limited. Last time, when we compared the Honda Odyssey to this Yukon, the Odyssey did not do so well, but the Pacifica is the minivan to compare it with, because it really stepped things up and really made a big splash when it entered the competition in 2017. So is this Pacifica enough to take down the class-leading Yukon? Let's go ahead and find out. As usual, we will begin with the pricing and trim level. For the Pacifica, we have the mid-limited trim level, which is one rung below the top pinnacle. So this will throw in nice leather seats and a pretty luxurious interior for the price. And moving over to the Yukon, we have the mid-level outdoorsy AT4 version, which throws in a rugged front end and exterior looks and some all-terrain tires that wrap 20-inch wheels. But now let's move on to the styling. So the Yukon is very rugged. You have tow hooks and a revised front end to handle the outdoors. So you see we have a nice brushed aluminum grille with that GMC badge, red tow hooks, and the C-shaped lights. So I think it all fits together nicely. I never thought I would say this, but the Pacifica looks more handsome and sleek because it has this completely functional grille with chrome, and it's very low to the ground, and the body lines just make it look great. And now coming to the headlights, both will have very different designs, and the Yukon will have a C-shaped design with two projector-style headlights stacked on top of each other with fog light. And now coming over to the Pacifica, this will also have a very nice looking LED design with a projective style headlamp. It also will include LED fog lights and LED turn signals, and yes, every element of the Pacifica's headlights are LED. And coming to the wheels, GMC will throw in 20-inch machined aluminum split-spoke alloy wheels wrapped in all-terrain tires. And Chrysler gives you very stylish 18-inch alloy wheels that are wrapped in normal all-terrain tires. Both do a great job canceling out the bumps in the road, and I give the point to the Yukon for the better tires and the extra wheel size. Both will have their very good points on the side, like the Yukon having power running boards, but I'll have to give the point to the Pacifica for having hands-free power sliding doors, which means you can kick under the side of the car and the doors will open. Both will have heated blind spot monitoring mirrors with power folding. However, the Pacifica will have the unique features of auto dimming, which the Yukon does not include. And now coming around back, I will give the point to GMC for having the wiper that is hidden under the spoiler and only comes out when it's raining. Other than that, GMC will throw in C-shaped taillight designs like the front with fully LED elements. And coming to the Chrysler, they will throw in this neat taillight design that goes all the way across, and this will also have completely LED elements like the Yukon. Now it's time to see what both cars are going to be like on the interior. The Pacifica uses a door panel that's composed of soft-touch plastic, some fake wood trim, and a little bit of leather and lots of storage. And now coming to the door for the Yukon, this will use soft-touch leatherette along the top with some AT4 exclusive yellow contrast stitching and this really cool wet-weaved carbon fiber. The rest of it will be made of some nice leather and plastic at the bottom. I'd call the versatility even. They also will throw in two-person memory seats and all of your switchgear right by the driver's arm. And coming to the seat adjustments, both will have 12 ways of power adjusting, including 4 ways of lumbar support. And the Pacifica will have this fancy Napa leather seats with white contrast stitching and piping. The $77,000 Yukon cannot match that, but it does have some really cool yellow contrast stitching and yellow accents throughout the seats. This will be perforated normal weather. After startup, a large 12-inch digital display will fire up on the Yukon. This is multi-adjustable and has a digital speedometer and tachometer. And coming to the steering wheels, both will have nicely weather-wrapped steering wheels with the heating function. When it comes to materials, GMC will use a lot of leather across the dash and, well, everywhere. There are a couple pieces of plastic here and there, though. And now coming to storage, this is where Chrysler really shines. So if you pull this back, there's not a lot of space, but a fair amount, good to put a bunch of Skittles, and you have a lot of connectivity. So Chrysler always is very good about providing lots of connectivity. So if you go in front of that, you'll see two cup holders, and you'll also see inside there USB-A and USB-C. So, about that connectivity, you will have like a lot because you have another two USB-As and two USB-Cs and this storage tray that goes way far back. Both will also have wireless phone chargers. One cool feature though is that the GMC will have a power sliding center console for more space. Both will have electronic shifters, and when in reverse, both will have multi-view angle 360 backup cameras with a lot of different views, as I said. And you see there on the Yukon, I can see my tripod. However, Chrysler does have another trick up its sleeve. Because the Pacifica is a Pacifica, and they know you might be going on some dirt roads, they did include a camera washer, which the Yukon and all of its offered goodies does not offer. Now coming to climate controls, both will have the ability to use physical buttons and knobs or use the screen for help. So you do have the choice of both, which is nice, and all of the buttons will be in matte black plastic. And one of the things that I should have mentioned is that the Pacifica will have auto park and the Yukon does not. And coming to the infotainment systems, the Chrysler will also win at this because it has Chrysler's latest Uconnect 5, which is super intuitive, super quick, and, well, you have so much customization, it just wins hands down over the Yukon. It's not to say that the Yukon is bad, because it certainly is not. Because, well, it also has things that you could access from the side and an Android-based infotainment system. Both will also have Wi-Fi hotspots. To wrap things up, both will have a large panoramic sunroof that goes to the second row. Now in the second row itself, it is very nice, and the power running boards are a big help because the Yukon has a big step in. So the Pacifica is very low to the ground and has half the ground clearance, so that would make it a little bit easier. Surprisingly, the Yukon does not have sunshades, which the Pacifica does have, so that will go to the Pacifica, the point. And I'm very surprised because this Yukon is $77,000, and last time I checked, that's not cheap. So I will have to be forced to give the point to the Pacifica. Both will have a third zone of climate control and 3 stages of heated seats and 2 USB-As and 2 USB-Cs down below. One very crazy feature is that you can watch YouTube on the back of the Yukon seat. Both will also have seat back pockets and, well, as I have been saying, plenty of legroom. The Pacifica will have a convenient pull-out cup holder space with a little console right by it. Now in the third row, both will have plenty of legroom, with the Pacifica having the slightest of advantages. So the thigh support is plentiful, and you can recline the seats power with the Yukon. So this seat in the Yukon is slid all the way forward, and I do have a fair amount of legroom and 2 USB-Cs. The Pacifica will have a very tricky trick up its sleeve. You can crawl through the middle, or you can pull that lever and collapse the seat with a car seat in place. So with that, you could just climb into the third row. You will also have little cubbies and 3 cup holders and plenty of legroom. The second row seats, however, do not slide. So if you're a taller person, you may have a harder time. And now coming to the cargo space, both will have advantages and disadvantages. The Yukon can pop the rear glass individually in case you don't want to lift up the whole thing. So that is very nice to see because that is going away on a lot of the cars. And if you open the main thing up, you'll have plenty of space. But the Pacifica, I have to say, will have the hands-free function that the Yukon does not have. Here in the cargo space, GMC will give you 40.1 cubic feet of cargo room compared to the Pacifica's 32.3. And you can also power fold the third row, which the Pacifica cannot do. Chrysler again will have another trick up its sleeve because it has the ability to stow the second row seats into the ground, and you see I've done that with the left side. It is kind of complicated, but once you get the hang of it, you get the hang of it, and that will give you a grand total of 140 cubic feet. So the Yukon has slightly more cargo space, but the Pacifica will have stow and go, so I will award 1 point to the Yukon for having better dimensions in 2 of them, and I'll give half a point to the Pacifica for the stow and go. So now taking a look at the powertrains, GMC gives you a mighty 6.2 liter V8 with 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, and a 10-speed automatic transmission. This is very powerful and more powerful than the Pacifica. 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 with 287 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque with a 9-speed automatic transmission. Chrysler will have a disadvantage with the power, however, it will have better fuel economy because the Yukon's big bad engine will take up the fuel economy. The Yukon measures in at 225 inches and the Pacifica 204. And for the width, the Pacifica will measure in at 78 inches while the Yukon 81. Well, everyone, thanks so much for joining me today on this minivan versus SUV comparison. When I was counting up the points, I saw that this was the closest comparison I have ever made on YouTube, and it came out as a tie. 6 to 6. Unbelievable. That's how the Pacifica can stand up to an SUV like the Yukon. Very impressed, Chrysler. Thanks everyone for watching again. I'll see you next time.